Hey everyone! Today, let's talk about a term that pops up when a business gets into trouble: liquidation value. It might sound simple, but you'll see there's a huge difference in what things are actually worth when the clock is ticking. Picture this: your favorite neighborhood coffee shop, the one you always go to, suddenly has a closed sign on the door for good. And you can't help but wonder, what happens to all the stuff inside? The chairs, the machines, what's it all actually worth now? So, to really get a handle on this, let's invent a little story. We'll call our business the Corner Cafe. It's been a local favorite for years, but, well, things didn't work out, and now it has to close down. So, the owner is in a really tough spot. They've got to sell it all. We're talking the big commercial espresso machine, all those cool tables, even the leftover bags of coffee beans. But here's the thing: this isn't some casual sale. They're under serious pressure to sell fast. So, how on earth do they figure out what to charge? Well, that exact question is what this whole concept of liquidation value is for. It's the professional, official term for figuring out what assets are worth in exactly this kind of scenario. All right, let's look at the textbook definition from the International Valuation Standard. The key part here is that the seller is compelled to sell. Now, that phrase is the key to understanding everything. Right. You have to lock onto that phrase, compelled to sell. This is not about the owner waiting around for the perfect buyer who's going to pay top dollar. Nope. This is about needing to sell and needing to sell now. That pressure, it changes the entire game. So, to put it really simply, liquidation value is the price you can get for something when you absolutely have to sell it fast. And yeah, it's almost always going to be lower than what you'd get if you had all the time in the world to find a buyer. Okay, but here's where things get a little more interesting. Does being compelled to sell always look the same? Is it always a complete fire sale, total panic? Well, the answer is actually no. The situation can play out in a couple of very, very different ways. First up, let's look at what we'll call Path 1, the orderly liquidation. This is the scenario where the owner of our corner cafe has a little bit of breathing room, a bit of time to plan things out. So in an orderly liquidation, you have what's called a typical marketing period. That means the owner can actually advertise the equipment, they can call up other cafes, try to find buyers who really want this stuff and will pay a fair price. The whole goal here is to get back as much money as possible. And in this case, with maybe a few months to sell everything, the corner cafe's assets might actually fetch a grand total of $85,000. Not bad, right? Okay, keep that number in your head. But now, let's look at the other side of the coin. This is Path 2, the forced liquidation. This is what happens when the landlord says everything needs to be gone by next Tuesday. Time has completely run out. In a forced liquidation, you've got a shortened marketing period. We're talking days, not months. Often, everything just goes to a public auction, and the goal is no longer about getting the best price, it's about a guaranteed sale. It's about cash in hand and fast. And just look at the difference. Under these forced conditions, the exact same stuff from the corner cafe might only bring in $30,000. That is a massive, massive drop from the orderly sale. So when you put them side by side like this, the difference is just crystal clear. An orderly sale is planned, it's deliberate, all about maximizing value. A forced sale, it's urgent, it's rapid, and it's all about getting immediate cash. And the single biggest thing that separates them, it's time. And that really brings us to the core lesson here. It all boils down to that one critical factor: time. It's not just that time is money. In a liquidation scenario, time literally determines how much money you'll get. You can see the impact so clearly right here. The exact same assets, but two totally different outcomes. That $55,000 gap is purely because of the amount of time the seller had. It's the price of time. So let's just recap the big takeaways, all right? First, liquidation value is what things are worth when you're forced to sell. Second, it comes in two main flavors: orderly, when you have some time, and forced, when you have basically none. Third, the amount of time you have is the absolute key difference between them. And finally, and this is the big one, more time almost always means a much, much higher value. It really leaves us with a powerful question to think about, not just for businesses, but kind of for everything. We always throw around that phrase, time is money. But when you look at liquidation value, you see just how literally true that is. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much time is your money really worth?